Hello, this is Angel from Remote Talent LATAM. Today we're here with Stephen. He's a founder of a marketing agency, and we're happy to have you here. So thank you so much, Stephen.
Good to see you, Angel. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. So we're gonna get started. Like, if you can tell us a little bit more about the business that you run, what you're doing these days.
Yeah, so we're a digital marketing agency. I founded Come Back in 2013, and since then we have grown to not only serve brands, but also agencies. So we provide white label support from our more humble beginning where we did more paid search, paid social, and SEO. We now grown into more kind of a full digital marketing agency, even moving into the traditional side where we buy TV and transit and radio and you name it. But especially on the digital side, obviously, talent is something that is always on our mind as we're growing. And it's sometimes really hard to find really good people at a price that makes sense for us as a business
Right.
within the US.
That makes sense. Perfect. Tell us a little bit more about your first hire with Remote Talent LATAM. Maria was your first hire. How
Yeah,
was the process? How is Maria performing in your team?
yeah. So I think we got introduced to you at the beginning of the year or end of last year. And at a time when we're looking for ways to staff a really large new account for us, we're looking for someone that will be able to speak Spanish and ideally Portuguese, and obviously is fluent in English without, some challenges that you might have with someone that speaks English, but where they're not doing it on a day-to-day basis. Engaging with your team was really simple, to be honest. We briefed you on what we're looking for, what the experience is, and shared a job description with you. And then your team went out. I think it was a process of 3 to 4 weeks where you did your interviews. You reached out to people till you came back with 3 candidates, basically. I love the fact that we got a short video where the candidates kind of talk about themselves. Gives you a little bit of an idea how good their English is. It gives you a little bit of an idea of who they are as individuals. And then obviously some supporting documents that dives a little bit deeper into their experience, who they are as individuals, etc. I think we interviewed all 3 people, and Maria really stood out just because of her background and her experience. She had lived in the UK, so has worked in an agency in the UK that kind of ticked a lot of boxes in regards to being able to manage English campaigns. After we interviewed her, I think there was a general agreement here between the leadership that she's the one that we wanted to hire because she spoke the 3 languages that we were looking for. She had some B2B background, and the new client that we were staffing for had B2B or is a B2B company. So again, she ticked all the boxes, and we went ahead to kind of hire her and bring her on board.
And let me ask you something. What was your expectation before started working with us? Like, did you really believe we were going to find 8 players, or you just give it a try? What was your real expectations?
Now, I know, so I used to work for big global agencies, and I know that global agencies, especially in the US, they have outlets in Latin America, whether it's Colombia, Brazil, a lot in Argentina, or kind of, I know somewhere in Nicaragua, you name it. And I know it works, right? So my expectation was if these guys can find some good candidates, this might be a good fit. So I had some good expectation. I think Maria exceeded that expectation, I would probably say. I just had a call this morning with the client that she's working on, and the client had only the greatest things to say. That when the client needs something, she immediately understands what they want. She doesn't need to go into detail with the client about how to do things. She can just take, we need to do A, B, C, and she runs with it. And that's exactly what we're looking for. I mean, due to my background, I used to live in London, used to work for a big global agency in London, and we had an outlet in India. And the biggest challenge I always felt was that while there's great quality there, but they needed a lot of directions. You give
Mm-hmm.
them a
Instructions.
task, and they would do the task, but if there would be obstacles, it would be hard for them to overcome. They wouldn't look for alternatives to go around it. They would just want to go from A to B as quick as possible. Yeah. And sometimes you just got to be flexible. Sometimes, due to information you collect, you might have to alter the way that you move forward, and that just doesn't happen. In addition to that, time zone is a big
Mm-hmm.
issue. From US to India, even the Philippines, because I know some people have teams in the Philippines, it's literally half a day. So when I have clients say, Stefan, I need you to do ABC now. If I would have someone in India and in the Philippines, I would have
They
to do it
wouldn't be available.
myself, or I have to pull other people from the US team in to take care of, which means they have to drop something else, right? So because Maria works in our time zone, that's not an issue. She works alongside everyone else. And we as a company, I didn't mention it in the beginning, we are an organization that has been set up remote from day one. So we are totally comfortable having people in Argentina, in Brazil, in Maria's in Colombia, in Nicaragua. So that's totally fine. That's part of our DNA.
Awesome. Sounds good. That's definitely a big help for you, right? Because as
Yeah,
you mentioned, you're in the paid media, you run campaigns, right? So it's something that cannot wait until tomorrow if you have a campaign that
exactly.
you have to pause
Yeah.
or something like that. So it's great that they're in the same time zone, they're working the same hours, and culture wise, they also feel they're a little bit closer, right?
Yeah.
If I know there's a lot of benefits probably from, let's say, finding Maria to join your team to working with us, but if you could tell just like from your perspective, what has been like the biggest benefit from working with Remote Talent LATAM to find great people that
Yeah.
like Maria, what would that be?
So again, I think I already mentioned one thing. One thing is really accessibility, and that has to do with when that person is available for us to work. That is kind of a major thing. The next thing really is the quality of talent. I mean, I would put Maria up against any US talents that we have hired in the past, and she probably would be equal to the people that have the same experience. She has, I think, 8 or 10 years experience. She can easily go head to head with anyone that we had in the US before. So that's awfully great, because it gives the team confidence that she can do the job, other than having to look over her shoulder always, which requires additional time. Requires additional time. I don't know what other benefits there are. Yeah, I would probably benefits there.
Yeah, and you, why was the reason like you started working with us and not just doing the recruiting on your own, for example, your own?
Yeah. So we are not set up to go out on ourselves to identify talent and hire talent in Latin America. You need a proper team to do that, basically. We're looking for someone who has the expertise in the market and can basically identify great people, do basically the entire first step that usually a recruitment company would do. And then they come with, here are 3, 4, 5 candidates that we think really fit the job description and that we believe would be really great. And I have to say, after Maria, we hired, I think, 2 more people with you guys.
Yes.
The experience has exactly been the same, right? The last account person we hired, there were 3 talents that were almost equally great. We decided on one. When we hired our director of marketing for you, she just stood out. I think
Yeah.
I looked at her at the short information that you shared. I looked at her resume. It's like, wow, she's done what we need to do. She's actually above what we were expecting you would be able to get. I think we wanted to have just a marketing manager that can support me because I needed to get rid of some tasks. And she had worked as director of marketing at 2 other companies, so she knew how to carry the responsibility that comes with that. And I saw her, I looked at her, I looked at the video, and I went through the resume. I set up an interview with her, and after the interview, it was clear that I don't need to see the other candidates because the other candidates were
it was
more
a
on the
same day
marketing
offer,
and
right? Like
yeah, 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 yeah.
you
I
were
told my business partner, I said, look, you gotta have a chat with her. I think we have someone that we can give a responsibility which will help you and I to focus on other things, and we don't have to worry about marketing. And
awesome.
she's been now. I had a conversation with her yesterday because 6 weeks since she joined, and her impact has been tremendous in those 6 weeks.
I'm so happy to hear that. So now you're marketing director. She's from Latin America. You
Yep.
have a senior PPC manager and another senior PPC manager, right?
Yeah. One is in Brazil, one is in Colombia. And I don't think it will be the last people that we hire for you, to be really honest. I think the process is great. It's, for us as a company, as long as we know who we want, as long as we can articulate exactly who we need, what skill sets we need, honestly, I have the confidence that you guys will be able to find someone, And even if the first one of candidates might not be good, it's not that you say, okay, that's it at this point. You just go out and source more people, right?
Yeah, and do it again.
Exactly. So I think you will learn how our business works. You'll learn how you guys learn and have learned who we are looking for. And that obviously comes with building a relationship so that next time we need people, you already know from a character, culture, and kind of skill set perspective who we're looking for.
Awesome. So happy to hear that, Stephen, and very excited to work on new recruits for you. We really thank you for your time today. It was very insightful. I guess a lot of people are going to benefit from, hearing from you, a marketing agency owner who has grown his business to this level, and now they're working hand in hand with us to find great talent and keep growing that, right? So I really want to thank you again. It was a pleasure speaking with you,
Oh, thank you.
and thank you.